dispensary really look inside and are very skeptical about going inside, we got that covered for you guys. Hey, what's up? What's up? We're live on YouTube as well. So yeah. But today we're gonna have a podcast. We're doing the podcast now.
We are doing the podcast now. We're live.
All right. So, hola, ¿cómo están? I'm Meyer.
It's Elijah.
David here.
And we're the Green Grinders Club, and this is our podcast.
Yeah.
So we have 3 to talk about today, and one of them is owning your stoner, refilling Stiiizys, and cannabis influencers. That stigma.
So, bro, what do you mean by?
What I mean by owning your stoner is, putting pictures of you on Instagram, Twitter, as you would normally while you're drinking a beer with your friends. A lot of the times, if you have a blunt or a bong, you won't post that picture just because of the bad stigma that cannabis holds or that people hold, compared to when you're outside having a barbecue, you can easily have 2 or 3 beers, cop rolls by, he's not going to say anything. But if a cop rolls by and you're smoking like 3-4 blunts and he sees all the fucking cloud going up in the air, he's going to fucking look at you like you're some type of fucking animal.
Yeah.
Like you're some type of animal. And it shouldn't be that way. But a lot of times we hide from it, you know?
I feel like for myself, especially in the workplace, I'm very reluctant to talk about my cannabis use. I feel like, and it wasn't until recently that my mind was able to change, but my cannabis lifestyle, my work lifestyle should never mix because cannabis is what it was taboo,
Yeah.
I felt very unprofessional talking about my cannabis use at work. And like I was ashamed of it,
But why?
Yeah, why do you feel that way?
I shouldn't.
Yeah.
Because I think it's because definitely less harmless than having a beer,
Yeah.
So I think in order to combat that stigma and that we need to, especially if we're going to be responsible smokers and do it the right way.
Yeah.
We should actively bring cannabis into our lives, and I don't want to say force it onto other people, but get them to understand that
it's normal.
Exactly. Normalize the behavior.
Yes. I mean, it's not even normalizing the behavior. It's giving them knowledge that it's not bad. It's not something that's... They're held on to old beliefs.
I feel that. And I mean, it takes a long time for social mores to change, Even right after the alcohol prohibition was done, I'm sure within potential influencers in the community need to be proactive in forcing people to recognize that smoking is normal and okay, and we're not any less of a human being for that. You feel me?
And I definitely don't think that it has to be just necessarily influencers, I think it should be anyone who medicates for the right reasons, or you're using it in a recreational way.
Yeah.
Medicinally I think is where it's broken through, really, because a lot of older generations have noticed how CBD helps their pain, arthritis, all these types of diseases. It alleviates their pain that they're going through.
Honestly,
it's something that they don't have to. It's not expensive. They don't have to fucking go to a big pharma. It's.
I agree, and you know what? Today, as we walked into one of these dispensaries, we noticed that there's a lot of older generation that's coming in, but one still kind of felt shy about us having a camera, so she was kind of like, no, I don't look good today. And some other chick as I walked inside, she was like, "Yo, take pictures." Oh, I'm ready,
Yeah.
And she was owning her being a stoner, and you know what? I want to get rid of using the word stoner, because a lot of people, when they hear stoner, they're hearing that as a bad connotation.
Yes,
when it's not, we definitely had a huge conversation about this, about how stoner to me is like someone who drinks a regular beer here and there. A stoner, I guess, used to be someone who would smoke, and had nothing to do with their lives. And that's what the stigma on stoners is, and we need to own up to it and show people that it's not how it used to be, and we're in a better place now.
If I can just amend that,
yeah.
I think alcohol has a lot clearer lines to be drawn when it comes to propensity for abuse.
Okay.
When someone drinks a lot, I'm prone to call them an alcoholic or say, hey, they have an alcohol abuse problem that needs to be in check.
Yes.
I don't think you can draw those same well-defined lines in the sand when somebody smokes copious amounts of marijuana. Now, your tolerance may not be my tolerance, may not be the next man's tolerance, but the detrimental effect that cannabis has on your body, I think, is extremely limited, to the point where having terminology that is loaded based on the amount of weed that you smoke does a disservice to what the plant is about, you know? Because if it's medication, some people need very high dosages, or if your tolerance is high and you've been medicating for a while, you need a lot higher doses than somebody who may be medicating for the first time.
You're right.
Especially if it's real medication and not recreation.
You're right.
So when you talk about the word stoner versus alcoholism, I feel like in society's mind, there's a parallel being drawn, because that's the propensity for abuse for alcoholism.
I get exactly where you're going. Yeah. But you know what? With that being said, we're gonna move on to refilling Stiiizys. So
I'm excited to hear
I heard, or Elijah brought up. Actually, we heard through the comments.
Can I jump this off?
Go for it. Go for it.
So one of our seminal works was our work on the Stiiizy pod.
Yes.
And when we went to go see the Stiiizy representative at the Cali Connect Green Room in La Mirada, she told us that some people like to refill their half-gram Stiiizy pod, but the packages don't recommend that at all. They say you're not allowed to do that. I just took it with a grain of salt because the brand was new to me. Come to find out, I'm hearing people in the streets are selling illicit half-gram Stiiizy pods just by themselves in plastic baggies and saying, hey, it's on the low, you can get them from me, don't get them from the store, and they're filling it up with their own oil solution.
Holy shit.
Claiming to be a Stiiizy and working off the Stiiizy technology, but not being Stiiizy at all, you know?
Yeah, you're right. And you know what? The funny thing is that the other day, my girl was like, hey, my coworker is gonna hook me up with some Stiiizy pods. And I was like, and he like called her and he was like, hey, like I have them ready. And she wanted the full gram, but he gave her the excuse of that they're still, they're fixing the full cartridges and rebuilding them. Which one, he doesn't work for Stiiizy, so I don't know how he gets all his information. But it just rung all these alarms in my head, and I was like, well, if all he's giving me is 4 Stiiizys for $95, there has to be something wrong. And if there's nothing wrong with them, I'm sorry, but I'm still not gonna take my chances on losing $95 for some cheap ass wax that probably isn't Stiiizy approved, you know?
Honestly.
And yeah,
it's not their product.
It's not their
exactly. It's not, you know. And $95 sounds like a hell of a price, but I sure as hell wouldn't take it unless it's certified from an actual dispensary or someone that I actually trust and value, you know?
But isn't this interesting that this is a problem that Stiiizy itself has created with in a crazy buzz?
Yes.
And maybe they have priced themselves out of the market that wants them most. Because, yeah, maybe Stiiizy is on everybody's lips. But if I got to pay $40 for my half-gram Stiiizy pod, but my homie down the street is offering me the Stiiizy experience for $20, who am I going to go with, you know? Because
I feel okay.
Speak on it.
I feel like the only reason that happened is because the way they have a different battery, and it made it so accessible to refill.
Well, that's the problem now, is that they made it so accessible for them to refill as a half-gram. And if your own representatives are telling these people, yo, you can refill these.
The rep told me that. They told me, yeah, some people like to refill this shit.
So
I never would have known that otherwise.
So yes,
when the brand first came out, we did our review in February. It's June now. She told me, hey, some people like to refill the half-gram pods. The full-gram pods didn't even exist at the time.
Oh, okay.
Some people like to refill our pods, you know?
Yeah. So that's why, just knowing as an actual cannabis user and someone who was deeper into the cannabis, I understood why not to get it. So I hope for those that are buying Stiiizy pods from other people, I hope they're actually getting it from Stiiizy and they're actually giving good Stiiizy quality, because Stiiizy alone is dope, you know. And their quality of cartridges are definitely top 3, at least for our opinion. But moving on,
speaking of Stiiizy, I got
cannabis influencers. Now we've had a lot of topics on this while we sit down to chop it up. And we talk about it because we bought a DabMed Digital for $220 that we happen to see Koala Puff's views a lot on her page. And now that we're really starting to dig in deeper and deeper and deeper, we've realized that a lot of these people are just getting paid to do anything. So, I mean, can you really trust your cannabis influencers?
Right now. I would say the short answer is no.
Okay.
I would say the long answer is you should be selective no matter who you are taking your advice from, you know? Especially when
I feel like that comes down to the person you are, really, whether you want to sell yourself out, whether you want to, because at the end, is it really selling yourself out if that's what you're doing as a full-time job? It's
No,
that's who the person you are.
I'm not trying to take away from any cannabis influencer whatsoever.
Yeah.
I just think that if you're really gonna call yourself a cannabis influencer, influences in the right things, you know.
Mhm.
Don't tell me, hey, yo, this is great, blah 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 blah, and then I buy it and it's complete fucking trash.
Yeah.
And when you can easily get certain products.
So I think the biggest issue is transparency, because I don't know how well versed you guys are with Casey Neistat, but Casey Neistat came under fire, I want to say about 8 months ago, for people thought he was doing Samsung promotionals on his main $1 million page on YouTube because he was doing so much Samsung heavy shit or iPhone heavy shit and not saying, hey, my pockets are being padded by Samsung.
Yeah, and then say ad. It was ads.
They were paid ads, but we didn't know as the consumer they were paid ads.
True.
And if you fall in love with this influencer or this creator or this artist because you think their work is genuine, and now you find out that the message that you're getting or the art that you're getting is compromised by capitalist interests, you're gonna feel a type of way about it. You know.
Right.
So all I care about is that if Koala Puffs is being sponsored by DabMed or being sponsored by Megatoke, I want you to tell me, yo,
I'm sponsored by.
Yeah, make it clear in your video. Let me get a tag. Hey, Dabido threw me $50 for this hit, because we've thought about buying influence on some of these pages too. But again, it's about the transparency. You know, we want you to know that, hey, we are paying for these spots, or hey, someone has a monetary interest in you hearing this, because I think that that's the most important thing. The cannabis community is about openness and trust, you know. And
I feel like that's
the second you compromise that,
I feel like that's what they should be passing down, is trust to your followers. That's what you build, is upon them following and building a fan base. You know, they build trust with you, and they trust the products you're recommending to them, like such as wax or even any type of brand. Like, you know, that's how you become.
And not only that,
and that comes down to whether you want to like offer something that you're getting paid for, or you want to offer a product that you genuinely love or genuinely really like.
I'm done with this.
I agree, you know, and I think that's we have to do the difference on that, but it also goes back to that stigma, you know. A lot of people don't realize that, yo, they're getting paid and they're offering you these things, and then when you get stuff you don't like it or whatever, it throws that back stigma back to the cannabis users, you know. Gives us all a bad name and saying, yo, I got ripped off, you know. Why? Because he smokes, blah blah blah, whatever it might be. Yeah, man, let's just be a better community whatsoever in total, you know.
To be honest.
Yeah, but yo, let's wrap this up, and we're gonna wrap this up with some Pel featuring Sabah. It was great talking to you guys today.
Oh yeah, great topics, bro. Great topic.
As usual, it was a pleasure. This is your boy Meyer.
Yo, it's Elijah.
David here.
And this is the end of our podcast. Green Grinders, we out.
Peace out.